top 3 basketball experiences,
Moment.
whatever.
Yeah.
Coolest things. Funniest thing was somebody lost a shoe and was slipping and sliding all over the basketball court trying to defend people, fell on his ass like 3 times, I think, before
Let me
they
guess.
because I don't know if y'all didn't have a timeout. And I think coaches were screaming, Palmquist, just tackle a guy. I mean, just to get your shoe back on. It was the funniest stuff in the world because we're trying to call the game and Matt's on a slip and slide out there. And it is the greatest thing in the world.
1, 2, 1, 2. All right, let's roll.
Welcome. You're listening to the Saddle Up Podcast,
Where we discuss everything related to RGV athletics, past or present. We'll catch up with old teammates, friends, and take you down memory lane.
with exclusive interviews.
This is the Saddle Up Podcast, the voice of your covered walkway streets.
So dope.
This is gonna be awesome.
Stay tuned for new episodes every week.
From Bronx Village to the Field House, we'll cover it all.
Hell yeah, dude. Carpe diem.
So saddle up and let's go.
Let's go. Saddle up, partner.
Good people, Saddle Up World. We're back with another episode. And this week, who do we have? Like, this guy has been.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
what can you say about John?
I have too much to say, and that's why we have him on the show, so that he can speak on his behalf, because he's like the most interesting man. I know we had the most interesting man, the Dos Equis guy last time, El Presidente, but this dude right here, I mean, the one and
Checks
only.
in the mail, boys. Checks in the mail. Checks in the mail.
One and only John
Obviously,
King, baby.
you had 15 cancellations, so you said, hey, I
No, not at all.
So, yeah. So you
No.
were the 10th. You were the 10th call.
know. Perfect. Perfect.
Second. No, absolutely not, man. Mr. John
No.
King, how y'all been doing, man? How you
Yeah,
been
I'm
doing?
good, man. How are y'all, boys?
What's funny is that we happen to run
Good.
into you a
Mhm.
couple of days ago down at the island at Tom and Jerry's. Shout out to Cody and Tom and Jerry's down at South Potter Island.
Amen.
And we ran into each other, and it was like it was sort of like a reunion, because it was like,
Yeah.
man,
Yeah, for
only we
sure.
see
it was.
each other on Facebook, and now we actually we run into John King. So we were super stoked, and we told you about the podcast, and you were so gracious. Yeah,
Hey,
like
we got to throw up. Brian Molina was there too, and Burke Garcia. We got to throw them out. Don't
Yeah,
forget
yeah,
about
we
the-
We got to
kinda
throw them. We got to throw them out the door. That's what we got to do.
Nice.
Throw those guys out.
yeah.
So
Hey, speaking
and
of-
I found out it was very interesting that the G invented obviously deep eddy grapefruit. We found that out.
Yeah,
That was
he
good.
did. he
That's good.
did. So, John,
Go baby.
for those people,
Looking
obviously,
for a sponsorship, John. Thanks. I'm
here to
looking
help.
for
Here to
all-
help. That's right. Tito,
So-
anybody listening out there? Yeah, give him a call.
so
That's
G
awesome,
and I
man.
have had the pleasure of knowing you since like 95, 96, right?
Yeah,
in
crazy.
the background, but isn't it crazy how time flies? I mean, 96 to now,
Yeah.
it's been.
I mean, I was
almost
thinking
30
about that
years.
when we were talking. I was like, man, that's 30 years, brother. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
30 years.
absolutely bonkers. It's how time has just flown by. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, because I literally remember, doing play-by-play for your teams, and just how much fun we had going on the road and everything else. It was just crazy though. That it's like it's over.
Yeah.
Like it feels like it was yesterday that we were
Yeah.
doing all that stuff.
now
So,
you were doing
John,
play-by-play
I'm sorry.
for
Go
us.
ahead.
You were doing play-by-play for us, and I remember back then it was just like the wood tables, the foldable tables, and they would put like the sheet over the top, right? That was like our press.
Pretty much, yeah. It
Yeah.
was pretty basic, and it took a long time for me to talk to the sports information department and say, "Hey guys, give me one of your computer monitors," because what they had. Do you remember like Georgia back in the day? She was working with
Mhm.
Jim with
Yep.
the SID, and so
Yep.
he would run over at the end of every half or just a timeout. He would run over some stats to me, so I had to look them over like a piece of paper. So it's so I was either trying to keep score on the which is impossible to do when you're doing play-by-play.
Yeah.
And then so I would get stuff wrong probably all the time. Shocker. And
Nobody knew.
and then they would bring me during a timeout. They'd run over a printout, and I'm like, guys, how about we just put a computer screen here? It's just another cable, and it took them probably a year and a half before they finally decided that was a good idea.
You're
John, what was
revolutionizing.
Jim's last name?
Jim
McCone.
McCone.
Jim
Yeah.
McCone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking
Yeah.
about him the other day. That's why it came up. He used to do little write-ups for us and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Good man. He was
Yeah.
a good man. Good dude.
Absolutely. Good family
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's longer with us. I don't believe he is.
He passed away.
No, he
some
passed.
years
He
ago.
passed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good man for sure.
Yeah, and then so you finally got the monitor, but you weren't just doing play-by-play for us. What was you were a sportscaster, correct?
Well, I started out, I moved down to the Valley to do sports. It's kind of like minor league baseball. You start in the minors and you try to work your way up to the majors. But, it was fun. I was there from Channel 4 in the Valley from 95 to 97. And then as soon as I got out of that, I started doing, some other stuff, play-by-play for you guys, for example,
Yeah.
Amongst other things, started the radio, sports talk radio show. I'm sure tens and tens of listeners.
We know how you feel.
But it was fun. I mean, I had a great time doing it. Met a ton of great people doing sports at Channel 4, and then reached a lot of a lot of athletes. They were from the Valley. G was from the Valley. Covered him in high school at St. Joe's, and and then we had Lalo, obviously at Edinburgh was there. Brian at Memorial. I mean, we had a lot of Valley talent down here, and not to mention, we started getting into baseball and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Baseball with Omar Ortiz and some of those guys. It was really cool. Just the competitiveness of the Valley. Especially when the playoffs started and stuff like that. The old field house before they, now they got fancy seats in there. When it was just wooden bleachers and stuff like that, they used to just cram people in. I remember PSJ North and Edinburgh games used to be out there during the playoffs, and it was jam packed, so much energy and so much that. I mean, it was a great time. Heck, I mean, think about how many people you had in your games.
Oh yeah.
When Gonzaga came to town, or I mean, it was insane.
Yeah.
It was literally standing room only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about that the other day, where we were really competitive. We didn't, obviously, you could look at the box scores. We didn't win a lot of games, but we were competitive in all the games, right? Especially home games. And
I'll say home games were a little different. I looked at the road records. The road records left some room for desire, but I just saw the TCU score. Do you remember the TCU score?
There's some things we don't remember. There's some things that are forgotten.
I would block that out too. I blocked it out. But I remembered I called that game. That's a very hard thing to do, is to try to, if you have, if anyone's still listening at that point, is to basically and actually I was getting stuff sent to me by Jim McCone in Edinburgh, and during that game saying they're going to set a record. They're going to set a record. This is the most points ever allowed and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, Jim, are we, am I a homer here, or what am I supposed to do here? But we went with it. So
I scored 6 of my career 12 points in that game, John.
Winning, baby. I love it.
That was my highlight, man, of my life. That was the highlight of my life. Yeah.
Hey, if it wasn't for you, we'd only have 61. Just remember that.
Yeah. That's right. Wow. So, John, I never looked at it that way. Thank you.
So John,
I'm here to help.
You didn't grow up in the Valley, so your first kind of taste of the Valley was when you came down for Channel 4, right? So where did you grow up, and how did you find yourself in the Valley?
So I grew up in Arlington, and went through elementary through high school through college actually in Arlington, and then I knew I wanted to be a sportscaster when I was probably in 8th grade or something like that, and so, like I was mentioning before, like with the minor leagues, you start off in the minors. And so I got a job at a TV station in Laredo, which was out of like 210 markets in the country. This one was like number 190. It was really low. And, again, you're making peanuts for money. I had family down there. And so that's why I went down I chose Laredo, because I figured, if I'm, can't find a meal, I have family, I'll be able to find a meal. Because I came out of college with a college degree, kid you not. I made $5 an hour, and it was like, nothing. It was absolutely no money in it. And it's either, that's really how they weed you out is you better want this thing, and so one of the Laredo baseball teams, Laredo United, was in the playoffs playing against Corpus Christi Moody, and in the playoffs, and so we went. I think it was the final 8. I think the Elite 8, I guess, for the high schools, and so we shot some footage there, and you basically are a one-man band. You're shooting the video, you're editing the video, you're doing it all, and I got, basically the TV station in Corpus Christi used all of my footage instead of their guys. And then it turns out that guy was Carlos Robledo. And so he went to Channel 4. And then when they were looking for a new sports, guy, he remembered me, and he called me up and said, send me a tape. So I sent him a tape and, went up there, and the rest is history.
That is insane.
So it kind of worked out. It kind of worked out. It worked out for a little bit until you tried to go up try to get to the next level, and then you realize all the politics and stuff that that are in media, and so it's kind of a good thing I got out when I did, and because it didn't always work out, but it was a fun experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I thought it was a great opportunity, and obviously I met all the people like you guys and so many others through it, and so I can't complain one bit.
Well, see, I've known you for almost, like, we've already established, over 30 years, and I never knew how you got down there. I just always knew you as John with, Channel 4, right? And and G and I ran into Carlos Robledo at the football induction, the naming of the football stadium, and he's working, I think, with Wesco ISD as like their media concierge, whatever, And so
he's I guess he's a teacher now. I don't know. We had a reunion, like a 75th reunion or something like that for Channel 4, and they had all the alumni come out and do the news one night, the 6 o'clock newscast, and I think they forgot how to produce a newscast, because they came up to me. I was in News Sports, and I was looking at the clock. I said, "Are we going long on this thing?" And they said, "No, we got to finish at 6:30." And I was like, "Okay." So I basically I scrapped everything, and I basically said hello. I did a shout out to my friends that are at Bourbon Street at happy hour, and got them a free round because of that. And then basically they went dark. I mean, they literally cut me off, and Wheel of Fortune started. And so didn't do any sports, didn't do anything. And I was like, okay, well, it was fun seeing everybody, but I got my friends a drink, and and that was that. So Carlos was a part of that. He did the news for him, and I did the 30-second sportscast, if that was even that.
That's
but it was fun.
That's amazing.
Fun.
Wow.
So obviously you're a transplant from Arlington. Well, I wouldn't say you're a transplant anymore, because you've lived down in the valley.
I've been here longer than anywhere.
Yeah. So what was it about the valley that, you're transitioning through sportscasting and talk radio and everything? What was it about the valley that just gravitated you to stay? What was it? When I came down here, I was 24, and so when I first started the Channel 4, and so your goal is, you just want to shoot to the majors, you're just trying to get there as fast as you can and everything else. So, it wasn't one of those things where, I just couldn't wait to get out. I was like, okay, every week I'm sending out a resume tape to somebody or something, after like my first year here, because I think I had a year deal or something like that, so I started sending out resume tapes all the time. And so then basically after that, when I got out of the business and then started doing, play-by-play for you guys, stuff like that, I started getting into, figuring out what I wanted to do next. I was still trying to get TV jobs out of market. It didn't work out. And so, I just said, okay, what are you good at? Because I didn't know anything else. I knew TV. And so one of the things I knew what to do was shoot and edit and stuff like that. And so I started a TV production company, and very small, obviously, and shot and edited and kind of scratched and clawed my way.
finally convinced Superior Alarms to let me shoot their commercials. And they kind of liked my idea so much, and they said, well, why don't you just be our advertising agency?
Nice.
And I said, yeah, I can do that. Had no idea what I was doing. So I went, the internet, was awful back then. So,
Yeah.
you basically I went to the bookstore and I just bought a bunch of books and started reading and learned how to become an agency, bit by bit, asking some of the TV sales reps at the time, for tips and pointers and stuff like that, and learning as much as I could from them, and then slowly growing it and growing it and growing it. And it's kind of crazy thinking that, I've been in business for myself now for 25 years. It's
And plug your agency. What is it called?
Imagine It Studios. Imagine It
Studios.
is we've been at this one. It started off as King Video Productions.
Okay.
And then, but then we evolved, and started getting into the internet, in 2004. This will be our 20th year for Imagine It Studios. But this is the primary now. This is pretty much, we still do commercials and stuff like that, but most of our stuff is focused solely on the internet. So we do websites, we do anything related to online advertising, search engine optimization. We do it all. And so we've been
awesome.
blessed. We've been having great clientele, and thankfully I can. Allows me the time to do stuff like this with you guys. Yeah,
John, in your professional opinion, okay, I know you've got a huge, vast background in this, right? In this media world.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Where do we stand in your eyes? Are we ready for the big time, or Saddle Up podcast? Saddle Up podcast.
So Saddle Up.
Saddle Up
absolutely.
podcast. Where do we have a chance at the big time? Yes or no, John? I need to hear from the guy that I trust.
I think as long as you're this desperate to have people like me on the air, you're screwed. But if you can find much better guests, then you have a chance. You guys, you got Ray Jackson before. You were talking about getting Rocket on. Those kind of shows are the ones that they're gonna push the needle. This is people are going, who the hell's this guy? And so this is going to be one of those tens and tens of viewers, I'm sure.
This is going to blow up. This is going to blow up.
We're hoping that this gets looped every day at Tom and Jerry's. Right over the ball.
Forget the games. Forget the NBA games. Forget the hockey games. Just loop this show over and over again. Talk to Cody.
They have a screen that's a little discolored. That'd be perfect for that one. We just put it on that one, and Cody will know. We'll get that thing to roll.
Hit up Cody.
There you go, guys.
Be done.
There you go.
Yeah, Cody's a pro.
You've heard it here. You heard it here.
That's right.
So let me ask you this: you've been down there, let's just say 30 years, right? You've been down there 30 years. You've been an integral part in seeing so many teams, whether baseball, volleyball, basketball, whatever.
Yeah.
Talk to us about how far the university has come. Where you saw it when you had to fight for a cable for a year and a half to get a monitor
on a computer on a screen.
I tell you what, when you go to the field house now, it's night and day. You recognize the exterior of the building, which is going to change.
Yeah,
they're adding some stuff on in the front of it. But boy, you walk over, old Jody Ramsey Stadium for baseball. The field house before, which is those crickety old bleachers that they would literally be pulling out. The gymnasium. Before games, or pushing it in so you'll have some more hoops to shoot on for warm-ups and stuff like that. Man, it's night and day. It is
the red
completely
shirts had to do
different. And I'm sorry?
The red
You
shirts
had to do that? Right.
Yeah, of course.
And so
come on, John.
So so the job that Chase and those guys have done is absolutely amazing. They had the foresight. I remember, I got involved with RGV, UTPA at the time, from Doug Duff. And Doug worked, basically his job was, he kind of freelanced with the athletic department to help sell them sponsors, get sponsors for them. So he would go out and get Circle K, and he'd go out and get these sponsors to put their logo on the floor and stuff like that. Because without him, they wouldn't have had anything. Just some donor money, which isn't going to go that far, when you're a small school. And so the fact that they're, what they're doing now, the baseball stadium's gorgeous. They're really putting a lot of money and energy into the basketball experience, to where it's a fun thing, the video boards, you have opportunities to do more things, streaming video and all that stuff. It just gives them so much more of a presence, because I remember, when we used to travel, I mentioned this to you guys, when we went to the pit in New Mexico, in Albuquerque, they were a top 25 team when you played them. And you guys, I believe, if I remember correctly, had like a 6-point lead at halftime.
Mhm.
And, that was when Brian Merriweather was just throwing it from anywhere he wanted to, and it was going in. And at halftime, we went to a commercial break, and the way that we were situated, we were actually in the stands. There was a small little area in the stands for the visiting radio guys. And so there's like season ticket holders and stuff right behind us. And so every one of them, we take off our headset and things, and they were looking over us and saying, where the hell is Pan Am? And it was the coolest thing, is we had to explain to people, they're thinking like we're in, Central America or something like that, like the Pan Am games or something.
Where's the
And and so I said Edinburgh,
Pan
Texas.
Am,
And they're
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
the next question was, where the hell is Edinburgh, Texas? It's not like you had smartphones back then, so you could just Google
No.
it. You didn't have that. And so we had to basically say, okay, the tip of Texas, basically, that's pretty much where we are. And people had no idea who you are. They were coming in just thinking, who's this team? Y'all played them, I think, in December, right before
Mhm.
Christmas or the New Year's. And it was insane, just the response that your team would get, because you got, like you said before, you guys were competitive. It was a fun brand of basketball, that was played. You're talking about every, Delray would push that you guys, we're gonna push it on offense, and then basically just, play full defense on everybody, and just check everybody up, and
Like
you know,
Kentucky.
Yeah,
yeah,
like Kentucky.
it was
Yeah.
Kentucky style, exactly, run and gun.
Kentucky style, running
know.
gun. Mhm.
There were some times, and he said, I remember we're talking to him about it, and he said it's gonna be hard in the beginning. We don't have, when he first came in, we had some guys that, he didn't necessarily recruit, but he thought that had some opportunities and stuff, and he would just push. Think about how winded were you guys in practice during those years?
Practice was a lot worse than obviously playing in the games, right? Because
Right.
with the
Not for
games,
me.
at least you kind of got like a sub here and there,
Yeah, right.
But practice, necessarily you wouldn't get a
There's
break.
puke buckets.
Yeah.
Your puke buckets out there. You guys were running and all the time. We used to go watch practice. it was crazy. You guys just never stopped.
Crazy practices.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But
I
y'all got to admit though, y'all probably in the best shape of your lives, I would assume.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Back in the day with calling games, I used to have two guys in basketball that used to do play-by-play with me. Doug Duff used to do play-by-play with me, and Coach Bear. And Coach Bear was the hardest
Shout out to
person.
Coach Bear, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God. He was the easiest person to do a game with, but he was the hardest person to do a game with because he was so freaking funny. He would make me laugh in the middle of a broadcast. He would sit there and throw out this dang Louisiana, drawl thing and have some comparison. Hey man, that boy's shooting like, and he'd just throw out something like a gator out of water, something.
You
I was like,
can't
what?
walk and chew gum.
What does that
at
even
the same
mean?
Time.
Right, and so Coach Bear, loved that man. He was so funny.
Coach Bear is going to come on the show. Coach Bear reminds me. You ever see that movie, Boy? The play-by-play for the Water Boy. That's what
exactly. That's him for sure. For sure.
FMR, Coach Bear, FMR.
Yeah, so we used to have a thing, and Coach would say we had a wireless microphone, and Coach would put it on the corner right by. We'd give it to Tony Farina, and he would pass it down, so it'd be right on the side of the bench. And then we realized at that point we didn't have a cough button, so people are dropping bombs. And you guys know Delray got spirited a few times. I guess would be the fair way to say it. And he would absolutely just sit there and just start screaming at you guys, or or the refs or whatever. I was like, maybe we need to turn that mic down a little bit. So I don't know how many people listened to K-Sox radio back in the day, but that was always an entertaining part of the game is having coach. Because I remember one time he looked down at the mic and he looks up at me and he goes, "What the fuck is this thing here for?" It's like, and I was like, "We're trying to get insight on the game, coach." And he's like, "Are you fucking crazy?" He's literally saying that to me. I'm like, I got nothing, and he was like, he goes, "All right, whatever."
I'm just here.
That's so much. That's so funny, John. That's so funny you say that because the majority of the time I'm on the bench and I'm like, I've got like the greatest seat right on it, in the gym, and I remember that moment that you just talked about.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's awesome.
I remember him looking at the mic and just looking at you and saying that, and everybody like you all are scrambling like, what do you want us to do? Yeah. There's so many things that happen, and we were, you talked about the mic, you talked about, just different things that I saw from my perspective, and Matt didn't really see a lot, because he was playing, so he didn't have my perspective. But if you were to ask me favorite memory, favorite moment, there's so many, right? And John, you have a lot too. But could you pull like that one favorite memory of calling a game, whether it's a funny thing, whether I know we talked about Coach Bear, Coach Bear calling games with you and him being ridiculously funny. Shout out to him.
The Coach it could be baseball, like whatever.
All right. So I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give you my top three.
Okay.
John
basketball.
King's top three.
John King's
top three basketball.
Here you go.
That's right. Here we go. Top three basketball experiences, whatever.
Yeah.
Coolest things. Funniest thing was somebody lost a shoe and was slipping and sliding all over the basketball court trying to defend people, fell on his ass like 3 times, I think, before because I don't know if y'all didn't have a timeout. And I think coaches were screaming, "Palmquist, just tackle a guy." I mean, just to get your shoe back on. It was the funniest stuff in the world because we're trying to call the game and Matt's on a slip and slide out there. And it is the greatest thing in the world.
Awesome.
It was awesome. Number 2 thing I think was the coolest, just because it was so unique, was when you went to Baylor and had 4 men. You had 5 to start the game. Somebody fouled out. What's his name again? Oh, Palmquist. That was him again. Yeah, he fouled out. And
the star of the show.
John, before you get to number 1, John, just remember this is our show, so you can't make fun of the host.
No, I understand. Thick skin, baby. And so the number 1 is obviously Gonzaga at home. I mean, I'm sorry to dig it up, but it's 73-71. Lalo's on the line. He's like an 85% free throw shooter in his career. And all he has to do, all right, you make 1, you're going to go to, extras. I mean, overtime, no big deal, right? Just make 1. And he lipped the first one, and then he lipped the second one. It was a wild rebound. It got poked out, and obviously the buzzer beater. I mean, it was the atmosphere in that arena or gym, can't say arena, that gym in the field house was so electric. And they just, kind of like my microphone, they just pulled the plug so fast. And all of a sudden it was this dead silence, so that was super cool to be able to experience that.
So
it was just amazing.
So your number one memory is Gonzaga.
Yeah,
that's all the time we have. That's all the time we have today.
I mean, you got to admit, you got to look back and think that was such a cool. I mean, that was the first Elite 8 team they had.
Yeah,
and
they haven't missed the tournament since that.
Right. Lucky charm.
Yeah.
But like
y'all played them the next year, and I think y'all lost by 30 or something like that. Yeah, so
we played them up in Spokane.
Yeah, it was like 74-73 for this one was the final, and so it was just insane. Just the energy and the atmosphere, it was awesome.
I'm curious to know, before we get into G's questions, right? The this and that. When you're on the call and you see, Casey, it was Ricky Fromm throw up that shot, and you're on the call and it goes in, what did you say? Because obviously we're on the court. We didn't hear We didn't hear
Yeah. I had a cassette of it, back in the day. That shows my age. I had a damn cassette of it. And but obviously that's long gone, but it was simply, loose ball because it was a scramble. The ball got kicked out to Fromm, and you're saying, you're counting down the clock, you're throwing up, and I said, he throws up a prayer, and you hear it, and I said, I kind of said, got it, whatever, but it was not an excited got it. You're like it was almost like a angst, like, oh my God, that just happened. And then you kind of shut up and let the crowd try to tell the rest of it, because you could hear it from the crowd. And Duffer was doing the game with me, and we didn't have any words. I mean, it was just kind of this listening to it, and to say, and then you just kind of had to recap what happened. But it was just so electric. You guys had it. And I will say this: I saw Lalo, frequently after that, and every time I would say it, I would like, you practicing those free throws. I would just digging and digging.
We still give him shit. Like, we still do, but there was a lot of things that could have been done. And it's not so follow, right? We could
no, it's not. But that's the one unfortunately you remember for him, because he was on the line. And
let me expand on your little story. People don't know this. The next day we had to leave. We were gonna go play TCU. No, we're gonna go play SMU. No, we were gonna go play Baylor. We flew up to Dallas.
SMU and Baylor was that was after that.
Because we were playing Baylor next. We were favored against Baylor. That's when I fouled out. And then we went to
why didn't you tell me that you were favored against Baylor? Because you guys lost by like 30. I could have retired. Y'all it was ugly. That was not a close game. I will tell you the score if you were forgetting.
Oh wow.
Tell me when.
Yeah, he's got the box scores.
I do. I don't know the box score, but I got a lot of the scores.
Oh, you don't? I wanted to know how many turnovers Matt had as a post player.
The 88-89 season. Hang on, I'm about to pull that up. Y'all.
88, 99, baby.
That's all the time we have today, guys. This is awesome.
So y'all played Gonzaga on the 28th, then you played Baylor on the 30th.
Yep.
And y'all lost. I apologize. You only lost by 17. So you were favored, though. I could have won a kill.
We're favored.
And then y'all played SMU, and you only lost by 11. I mean, it was tough.
Yeah.
Y'all had a tough schedule, and y'all hung.
Yeah.
Not bad.
We were competitive. We were.
Yeah, I think John Braxton didn't do his homework or something. Was suspended those games.
That's what we got. That's what we're not going to call John out. That's what we call it. He didn't do his homework.
I can't speak on that. We got to get Braxton on the show, and we can ask him that. But
So I got a question for you guys before you start rapid fire and all this stuff. So now you have, I just saw an article yesterday with, after COVID and stuff, players get these additional years, and I just saw an article about football that said a guy from Miami, he played at Oregon initially, he's going to be in his 9th years as a senior.
Yep.
9th.
Yeah.
Would you guys have wanted to play longer if you were given the opportunity? I understand the competitive side of it, but also when you played there, and you also, some people are looking forward to moving on. Would you have stayed for that long if you could have?
I would have. I wish that I would have redshirted my freshman year.
Yeah.
And so that would have given me, one more year.
9 years. 9 years is a lot. That's a lot.
I talk about this all the time.
It's a career.
I think that.
Yeah.
I think I was born.
Doctor.
I was born way too early. In the sense that, given my frame, my style of play, like the way I played, I would have been really, really successul kind of in this type of game versus when I was having to play against, the guys that were like Big O, that were just brute strength and just kind of.
What was the guy from LSU that I forget his name?
Oh, Stromile Swift. Yeah.
Stromile Swift. Yeah. He was
Stromile Swift, Brian Skinner at Baylor. Like those guys were huge, and so that to me would, I was 210, 6'9" at the time.
Yeah.
So I think I was born too early, but it's a different game.
Yeah, the game today would have definitely fit you better. I mean, you'd have to work on an
Yeah.
outside shot more, but I mean, but you would have probably
Yeah.
been open to doing that.
Yeah.
Instead of just being inside.
They're definitely a lot softer. These years, this game is a lot softer. Don't like contact. Prone to turnovers.
Yep.
Matt would fit right in.
Yeah.
Matt would fit right in.
So G, I mean, how about you? You shot a lot, and Brian Molina shot a lot, I mean, everyone, it seems like today you just can't, they'll give you a 3. I mean, I guess the same thing would apply to you guys.
Yeah, we were soft too. We were soft around the edges. We just wanted to stay out in the perimeter. We didn't want to defend. We'd fit perfect in today's game. Not wanting to rebound, not wanting to defend. People don't take any charges anymore. I mean, that would have been perfect for Brian and I, to tell you the truth. All three of us, we would have been all-stars. We play in the NBA. Matt, Brian, and G. All right.
There you go.
First round draft picks.
There you go. Perfect.
2025, baby.
Exactly. We'd have been like Josh Hart and
the Villanova brothers, right? Yeah.
DiVincenzo and Brunson. On the Knicks. Exactly.
The Pan Am brothers. The Pan Am brothers.
Yeah.
Man, John, that's thank you for taking us down memory lane, man. This was definitely like one of our best shows going down memory lane.
That's fun.
John came with the stats, man. He pulled out the fucking
you pulled out the
box scores.
Old school stats.
The internet is an evil thing.
Spoken like a true professional from,
Absolutely.
I had to look up. I was looking at some of the names. I was like, some of the guys, and I was like, throwing out, names like, what was his name? I'm already blanking. Kalani that played from Hawaii.
Kali'i.
Kali'i Bandman, Mike Thompson.
Yeah.
Mike Thompson.
Yes.
Big O.
Big O, Ostarcevic.
Yeah.
We had Renee Salamao. You remember Renee Salamao?
Muhammad played.
We had Raheem Muhammad. And cool story about Raheem. His daughter played for me at JUCO.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this one. So like another Valley kid that played with y'all, Leo Sacedo.
Leo.
Yeah, that was a year before.
Was that right before you?
Yeah, that was before
my first
Nelson
year.
Oliveira
95.
played. Yeah, that's crazy though, man.
Yeah,
well, that's bonkers.
We are running short on time, so I want to end it with this or that questions. And I actually have one question for you, so I'll let G ask his, and then I'll wrap mine up, and then we'll get out.
We're gonna have to do a John King part 2 on Saddle Up. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Just let me know when.
A lot more to talk about. A lot more things to go into detail with. We definitely need to bring you back. But we're gonna do this or that speed round, baby, for some Wing Barn. Wing Barn, 10, 11, 10 locations all over the Rio Grande Valley. One of our sponsors, man. I'm gonna give you some gift cards to enjoy. Wing Barn.
I love that you had to put on the specs though to read. That's fantastic. Showing your age.
That shows everybody's age, right?
I know, right?
Matt just doesn't want to put his glasses on. I know
Matt just sits there and just enlarges the font, so it's like a 24-point font.
It's called Jitterbug font. Like I have one of those cell phones with the big.
That's
it's a tablet,
man.
Yeah,
that's right.
All right. Here we go, John. It's this or that, so just spit it out, man, as quickly as you can. All right, Superman or Batman?
Superman.
Tom and Jerry's or Blackbeard's?
Tom and Jerry's.
You sure about that? All right.
Home run, easily.
Coke or root beer?
Root beer.
All right. Jordan or LeBron?
Jordan. Come on, man. Anybody who says that LeBron has never watched basketball or is just a complete dumbass.
Sorry, Mike. Sorry, Mancias. Sorry,
man. Hey, they had a rule to kill the man if he drove the lane.
You don't have to.
All right, sorry, it's not quick. It's not quick. My bad. Sorry.
Mustard or ketchup?
Mustard.
Blue Marlin or HEB?
HEB.
Okay. Okay. Hey, it's ice bath or sauna?
Sauna. Can't do the cold.
Snoop Dogg or Eminem?
Ooh. Eminem.
Yes.
Eminem.
All
Eminem.
right. Okay, I got you. Beach or mountain?
Beach.
Surfing or boogie boarding?
Neither.
You
Surfing
got-
is cooler. I'll go with that.
Yeah. Peanut butter or jelly?
Peanut butter.
Boat or plane?
Oof. Plain.
Okay. Scary or drama?
Scary.
All right. This is the big one now, John. Before Matt asks you his question, okay?
Okay.
Favorite player, Matt or Lalo?
Oh, Matt, for sure. He makes his free throws. Did I just go there? Was that my outside voice? Oh, shoot.
Shout out to Lalo Rios, man. One of the greatest players to ever play at UT Pan Am.
Actually, I covered Lalo in high school. I really did. He was such a good player. He was
Oh yeah.
He was so smart on the floor. Always loved, watching with Coach Filateo in Edinburgh High School.
Yeah.
It was so much fun to call those games. They were so good, for Valley standards, obviously. They go into the playoffs, and that's when you realize that basketball and the Valley don't, necessarily mix. But
yeah,
Lalo was always fun to call his games and stuff like that. He was great. I give him a hard time, but he was great.
Matt's my favorite player too. I agree.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
I figure for all the negative things I said about Matt earlier, I had to make up for it.
Oh,
You
it's
did.
I
You
can
did.
take a ribbing. It's all good. My
That's
question
right.
is, you're the coach. You got G and I side out of bounds. You got
Okay.
to drop the play, right?
Okay.
G in the corner for 3, or you could do a screen and roll for a lob for Matt. Tie game. What are you doing?
Who are we playing? Are we playing Stromae Swift?
That is a great question. He needs context.
I mean, if you're playing, if Raheem, is inside, guarding you, I'm going into you. So, but I mean,
that all depends on the matchups. Yes, agreed. But for just you're the only one that's ever asked.
Today's basketball, I'm going to G, and we're throwing up the 3.
Okay, well that's
Just
all the
because
time.
today's
Matt.
basketball,
Thanks,
they don't
John,
play
for coming
perimeter
in.
defense.
Appreciate
They
it.
don't play perimeter
John.
defense anymore.
We're not
They
throwing
don't
it
play
up. We're
perimeter
making it.
D.
We're making that.
Oh,
We're
my God.
making it.
So
That's
G
a win, baby. That's a W.
G's
Sing.
got the score is 4-2 now. Like we asked that
4-2, baby.
4-2.
Okay.
G's winning 4-2. Lon Kruger sat us. He benched us both. Lon Kruger did.
Yeah.
That's why he's a potential Hall of Famer, man. He's pretty good
Absolutely,
at what he does.
100%.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So but anyway, John King, thank you so much for joining us.
Man, such a
Boys,
sport,
thanks for having
dude.
me.
Awesome.
It was a lot of fun.
You were definitely somebody that we've always looked up to and idolized, and has always been a good friend of ours, and just kind of showed us the ropes. And running into you the other day down at the island, it was
a blessing. It was a blessing, man.
Led to this. So thank you.
It's definitely a small world. How did I know that I would find you guys at a bar? Amazing.
Yeah, weird. We're never in those places.
That's right. It was a bar and grill. People, it was a bar
Mom,
and
I
grill.
tried to get him to go to church because it was
That's
Wednesday.
right.
Yeah.
That's right,
right.
Miss Palmquist. Your son was not at a bar. He was at a restaurant.
I was at a restaurant. Yeah, exactly. So, but John King, thanks so much for joining the show. You're welcome back anytime. We would love to have you and all your box scores and your receipts, because you print them out and you show them to us. So,
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Blame the internet, baby. Thanks for having me, boys.
Till next week, guys. Bees up.
Like we weren't supposed to come up with something this clean, like something happened.